Good morning and welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and I'm here in Howard, Kansas at the Bellar Farm where it is nighttime as well as harvest time. We will follow Mike through his crop and hog production, as well as talk to him about his involvement in the Kansas soybean industry. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning and welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and we're here in Howard, Kansas with Ben, Ethan, and Mike Bellar. So to start off, Mike, tell me about the history of this farm and how long it's been going.
I'm the third generation here on this farm, and these two boys, and plus I have another son, Luke, they will be the the fourth generation on this farm. I had my grandpa, my dad, and then myself. My grandpa and dad didn't farm a whole lot, and we've this third generation, which is my wife and I, we've kind of expanded on that, and we hope to be able to bring 3 sons in to farm. We're going to have to go through another expansion here in the near future, but we hope we can make it successful and bring all 3 boys home to farm.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any plans in place for the next generation of farming with your boys?
Well, finding land to rent or buy is going to be a big challenge. We may have to diversify to an area farther away than what we've been going to farm. We may have to go 30, 40 miles at some point in time. I don't know yet. Ethan's still in high school, so he's not here full time, and the other 2 boys have just graduated college, and so we're kind of playing it by ear to a certain extent. We kind of have a long range goal in mind, but it's just going to take a little while to implement it.
What do your sons do here on the farm? I know you mentioned your one son is kind of in charge of your hog operation. What roles do they play here?
Luke is running the finishing end on the hogs. It's pretty well full-time job doing that. Ben, he trucks, he hauls commodities most of the time, but during harvest or wheat planting or on weekends he's home and he helps here on the farm. And until I decide to give it up and turn it over to him, or we find some more land to farm, he'll probably continue doing that.
Okay, thank you guys. We will be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
If you're searching for bulls that offer genetic flexibility, then come to the Dale Banks Angus Bull Sale, Saturday, November 19th near Eureka, Kansas. Selling 140 bulls that have spent their lives in rough Flint Hills pastures. For 112 years, the Perriers have been focused on providing hard-working, balanced trait bulls for progressive cattlemen nationwide. Make plans to join us on November 19th or bid online at liveauctions.tv. Call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and we're here with Mike Bellar in Howard, Kansas, in front of his hog operation. So to start off, Mike, tell me some background information on your hog operation.
My dad finished hogs. He started finishing hogs when I was about a sophomore in college. I came up from school and when I graduated, and we built another hog confinement barn for finishing only. Soon after that, my dad retired from the hogs and I took over both barns. Did that for about 12 years. Then I was getting we were having a little bit of trouble on buying feeder pigs, finding a source. So in '93, we built a sow operation to go along with the finishers. We liquidated the sow end after 22 years last July. The sow operation worked very well for us. It made me fully employed. We could market our grain, our corn especially, through the hogs. When we were going full speed on that, I had about 420 sows. We're completely fair to finish. In the process, in that meantime, we'd built 7 more. During that time, we'd built 7 more hog barns for the farrowing, nursery, grower, and finishing end of it. I liquidated the sows. Barns were getting old. They needed updated. I was getting tired of it. We'd managed 3 hired men for those years, and I just needed a change of life, needed to kind of do something a little bit different, be able to get away from the farm. For those years with sows, I was very tied down on what was going on. But I have a son that just graduated from Fort Hays State last May, and he's taken over the finishing end. We're buying feeder pigs now, and we'll finish out about, we have capacity for about 3,500 head of hogs, and we'll finish out about 7,500 hogs a year. We're marketing our hogs through Triumph Foods in St. Joe, Missouri, which really works well. Back in '99, we had an episode with the $8 fat hog market, and I always said if I ever had a chance to be able to buy into shackle space, I would do that. Well, through Triumph, I'm able to own shackle space, and we market our hogs that way, and we sell them on a carcass basis, and the hogs, then we get dividends from Triumph Foods on a regular basis.
Thank you, Mike. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. Wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to an orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. He said, well, we'll have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio and gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and I'm back here with Mike Bellar, and we're going to talk about his crop production as well as his hog production and how he combines the two. So Mike, tell me about how your crop production, how you use that for your hog production.
Well, we grind and mix the feed for our hogs. We use corn, soybean meal, and DDGs plus a vitamin mineral premix. The corn we raise on the farm for the hogs. The soybean meal, we raise the soybeans, but we'll generally take a load of soybeans into Bungie or Cargill and bring a load of soybean meal back. So we're just kind of trading one protein for another. And the DDGs is a corn-based product, but we have to get them from the regional plants on that. But all of our feed is processed here on the farm. We probably average 2.5 hours a day just grinding and mixing feed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you run a diversified production. What does being a diversified production mean to you, and how does it benefit your family?
Well, the hogs are a big part of the diversification. Mm-hmm. It's the hog operation's almost a full person job. The crops, we're diversified in basically 4 crops. We have corn, wheat, full season soybeans, and then we jump in with double crop soybeans, which is a whole different ball game than first crop soybeans. So basically we have, on the crop end, we have 4 different chances for maybe better yields or good yields. And with the wheat, corn, and soybeans, I have 3 different ways I can market the products. Approximately on a decent year, half of the corn will go through the hogs, and the other half I'll end up selling. Mm-hmm. We had in 11 and 12 were really tough dry years here, and I ended up having to buy the majority of my corn instead of selling it, and that was a different experience for me.
So just shortly touch on maybe some challenges. You had to buy some corn, some challenges you've had with your production as a whole.
On the crop production, it was the really dry years of 11 and 12. They're pretty tough. But I guess I've been through it before, I think it probably bothered my kids worse than it did me, but it's just kind of part of Mother Nature. You can't control Mother Nature, and you just kind of go with the flow.
Okay, thank you, Mike. We'll be right back after these few words from our sponsors.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and we're here with Mike Bellar in one of his soybean fields. So Mike, tell me about the crops that you produce here and your rotations with those crops.
I plant corn, soybeans, double crop soybeans, and wheat. The corn ground will, after corn harvest, will no-till wheat into the corn stalks. The following spring, after wheat, we'll double crop that ground into soybeans. And then the following year, we'll plant that back to full season soybeans. So basically, I'm getting 4 crops in 3 years through this process. Okay.
When it comes to some practices that you have here, what do you do when it comes to no-till and irrigation and things like that?
We have no water here, so we do not irrigate. But the soybeans and the wheat are all no-tilled. The corn ground, we work it. And we work it primarily in southeast Kansas here to help that we plant corn pretty early, and to help kind of warm up the soils, and I'm able to incorporate fertilizer down deeper by working the soil.
Okay. What are some challenges that you found in the now and in the past with maybe some yield and things like that?
The biggest challenges were 2011 and 12 during the drought. Those were pretty tough times. 11 we raised overall 26 bushel corn, and in 12 it was 38. So it was pretty tough. We're having starting to have some problems with resistant weeds on the soybeans. We're in a time of down prices on grains right now, but that just kind of, I've been in this long enough, I've been through several of these, so it's just another little bump in the road on that.
You mentioned you have some weeds that are becoming resistant. What are those weeds?
Primarily mare's tail and resistant pigweed are our two biggest ones. I will change on my soybeans next year. My pre-emerge, I'm gonna do some different chemicals, and I think I can work through that. It just didn't quite work this year like it should have with all the rain we had last May.
Okay, thank you, Mike. We will be right back after these few messages from our sponsors.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Support Kansas agriculture education with an AgriTag. AgriTags are available anytime at your county treasurer. They look great on cars and trucks. For more information, go online to ksagclassroom.org.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and I'm here with Mike to talk a little bit about his involvement in the Soybean Commission as well as National Soybean Organization. So tell me a little bit about your involvement with those and what you do for those.
I'm one of 7 commissioners that represent Kansas. I'm from the southeast corner. We're a elected position. We have to send in a petition and fill out a petition, and we have to be elected to do this job. The Soybean Commission, we receive of every checkoff dollar, the Kansas Commission receives half of it, and the other half will go to the national. We do research. We do the picking out of research projects for Kansas farmers and things to help them improve yields, disease control, weed control. We work on several different avenues of that, plus a little bit of research on maybe plastics or polymers and issues like that.
You mentioned the National Soybean Organization, and what does it serve for the soybean industry?
Well, the United Soybean Board, half of the money from every state goes to them, and they do probably more national projects. They'll do projects in other parts of the world to promote soybeans and to help everybody, just to help get more soybeans in other countries to use up our production. It's very important.
So what else do you do with the soybean industry?
I'm appointed from our Kansas Soybean Commission to the National Transportation Coalition Committee. There are approximately 20 members on it from across the nation. And we meet 3 times a year. We go over issues on transportation of the soybeans. We talk a lot about the lock and dam system, ways to kind of get that. It's getting outdated, ways to maybe get funding. We talk about the ports where soybeans are offloaded to go to other countries on ways to maybe some of these old ports, they aren't deep enough to get some of these new ships in, and maybe ways for that. A major problem is the aging bridge system in the United States, and maybe we've been talking about new ways to on bridges, new tests on to test bridges. Probably about it.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Thank you for watching That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host. Stay with us for next week's episode on That's My Farm.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.